Hey, this is Max. Welcome back to another CSR2 video. I am here with the BMW Z4 M40i. This is an easy PC Cup this season because the car is so fast that it beats everything pretty much with just one stage 6. But that's not really why I'm here today with this video. I am here to show you the tune and setups to use this car in Tempest 3 Tier 3. Not that Tier 3 is all that difficult to start with, but another option to use is always a good thing. And BMWs you can get fusions for pretty easily, so it's good to have this car as an option. Plus, it is good enough pretty much to do the whole thing with minimal Stage 6 upgrades, if any. So let's start off with the 475 pp setup. I have the car set up to 473 utilizing the following: Stage 4 body, Stage 5 nitrous, Stage 5 tire, Stage 4 trans. Obviously, this isn't the only setup you can use, but it seems to be good enough to get the job done because at this point, you only need to hit a 120 mile per hour speed trap in the quarter mile, and it's doing 133, 6.8 seconds 0 to 100, and 3.952 0 to 60, both of which this will easily beat. Plus, it's already running 10.4, which is fast enough to get through this bracket without any issues. So I'm not even going to really have to run this. I'm just showing you the tune and the setup. Now, mind you, this is full fusion, but guess what? Buying M235i's and stripping them, you should have full fusion for this car within a day or so of stripping cars. So there's no reason for you not to have full fusions. There's just no excuse for it. Okay. So the next one is 498, which is actually a decent bump, but the speed trap goes up to 135 mile per hour. Mind you, we're already at 133. So 135 really isn't going to take much effort to hit. You can bump any of these up. What I noticed though is with this car, engine intake and turbo, even one stage of it bumps up the PP points by a lot. So you want to kind of avoid them as far as initially, because it bumps a lot of PP points for very little Evo gain when you put them in. You're almost better off finishing off on body first, which does at stage 5 require a decent bump, but still not as severe as one stage of engine or turbo or intake. So you can go ahead and bump that to stage 5, and you can also test if you want to put transmission up to stage 5, which does give a decent bump. But again, these guys here all add a lot of PP points at one stage. So once you put them in, notice how it bumps right up to 496. Now, you can use any one of the three. It doesn't really make a difference, I think, at this point, because you're going to be well over the requirements anyway. But since you're going to be cutting it close anyway, you might as well use engine, since it's the one that gets you closest to 498 without going over. So I would just bump engine in one stage of it, and that puts you right at like 496. As far as the capabilities, the car, again, this car is one of those ones that are just a outstanding car for performance for the level of upgrades, and it shows it in the dyno right here, 2.6, 5.1, both about a second, well, not quite a second, this is about half a second under the target number. This is a full second under, and it's 140 miles per hour already, which is the next bracket's speed trap requirement. So you're already one bracket ahead as far as speed trap, and that means not as much tuning and easy time of it with the car. Now, to get a few more mile per hour out of it, lowering grip usually is the way to go. You can also put the gear down a little bit, but usually that's not that helpful. As far as getting it, it's better to almost always have the final gear with this car in that whatever you're trying to get to. In that case, you're not really in the final gear, you're in the gear before the final gear, even at 5.0. But more grip doesn't really seem to hurt the speed traps all that much either. Again, this is at 498, you're already doing the 520 pp's speed traps, which is 140. That means to go up to 520 pp points really doesn't require us to do much. The only thing that changes is the 0 to 100 drops. The requirement goes to a 5.5 seconds, But I don't see that being a problem since this is one of those cars that accelerates relatively quick. So you can actually bump a bunch of engine up now because after the first stage of engine, the points don't move as quick. Now, the alternative also is, of course, to bump other parts up, not engine. For example, you can also put stage or two or turbo, but then that means you have to lower a stage of engine. Because of the difference in the way the higher stages work, it's almost worth it to go ahead and put, engine to fifth or turbo to third. It's really kind of your call. You need to watch the Evo points to see which one works better. You can also do that combination with intake, but being where the car is already, having that just puts it right where it's going to easily beat the target numbers. So that brings you right through 520 without any real tuning. Add some parts and boom, you get right through. You can now go to the next step, which is 540 pp, but this time the speed trap goes up to 150. So this is where things may get a little more interesting. However, you have 21 points here to play with, which means you're going to get pretty much all your stage 5s in at that point. Full stage 5 is like a 545 pp point, so you just need to lose 5 points, and you can easily lose that with dropping one of the stage 5s off of one of these guys and put you right where you need to be. So you can have two almost at stage 5, everything else at stage 5, and that'll get you to the 540 pp point. That's really a pretty simple one too. Again, no tuning needed. This is the beauty of this car for Tempest 3 Tier 3 is that it basically does everything without tuning. You just boom, 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 right through. Well over the 150 mile per hour, well under the 3.0 second required for the 0 to 60, and well under the 0 to 100, which is only a 4.9. So far, so good. The car is a little hectic to shift, but if you just kind of launch, shift to third, nitrous, and run it through fourth, and then kind of good shift the rest of them, you're pretty much good to go. So it's not a difficult car in that sense. It's just annoying more than anything. And you just got to do a lot of tapping in the beginning. All right, so we're now looking at maxing out the car in stage 5 and trying to hit that 160 mile per hour in the quarter mile. So that's going to be the one that's a little more challenging theoretically because, it's the quarter mile and you got to hit 160. But the reality is it's really not that hard. This car will hit 160 pretty much no problem in the quarter mile. You just have to give it the space to do it. 158.996, so it actually wants to have the grip. And then if you are worried, usually a little nitrous boost duration will take care of that problem right there. Okay, 0 to 60, 0 to 100, again, it's well under any of the requirements. The 0 to 60 is a little bit closer at 2.3, and you're dynoing at a 2.1. But again, if you were going for pure 0 to 60, you can certainly keep the final gears and stuff the way it is, and then 2.155. You'll be skipping gears, so again, that's going to require you to kind of get your gears done quickly to get the 0 to 60 done, because you're really hitting 60 in fourth. Okay, now you may be able to tweak it like this a little bit and hit a little bit better 0 to 60 because you only need to do it in third, which also means nitrous becomes kind of useless because you're not going to really have time to dump nitrous within that time. You're just going to jump and go. So again, there are different ways to play with it, but 5.0 will do the job. We'll do the job for that, and we'll do the job for this. All you have to do is really kind of give it a little bump. All right, so that is how good this car is for Tempest 3 Tier 4. It's that easy. Because it's also easy to do all these things, you can obviously tell that this is not a difficult car to use for the Prestige Cup either. The one thing, like I said, I don't like this car that much, mainly because of the funky shifts. Not that it's impossible to drive or anything, But tier 3, I don't race in a lot to start with. And with the weird shifts and the lack of real dyno beating outright, I mean, it'll do the time, but it just doesn't beat it by a lot without a lot of playing around. It's not a car that I'm going to prioritize for maxing out just because it's the fastest T3. Doesn't mean anything to me. I don't race in that bracket much, so I'm not going to do anything with it. Oh, let me actually do a run or two, right? Let's just do a quick run and kind of take a look at how this funky shift works. So you kind of just jump through all the gears, and then you're in 8th gear already, and boom, you're done. Now, it's not a bad car in the sense that it runs pretty much on or slightly below dyno without any headaches. Right here, 8.8 with no stage 6, 157. Obviously, if I wanted to do that 160, right, because you want to do 160, it's more of a matter of skipping more gears and running the nitrous a little bit later than anything, and that should get you right there. But let's actually put it to the test. It's just got so many gears. It's kind of silly. So I'm using the 8th gear and done. So I kind of skipped 4th gear because it's a long gear and used a lot of your nitrous up if you were trying to get performance. I just kind of went right to 5, 6, 7 and then hit nitrous late enough that it's pushing at the end. So there's your 160, no problem there. The same strategy would work for the lower brackets as well. So there it is. Quick, easy, and quite effective. This is just one of those cars that'll do the job without any headaches. I think certainly I would highly recommend it as an option for Tempest 3 Tier 4. If you already got it for the PC Cup and you beat the PC Cup, you basically can beat Tempest 3 Tier 3, I said Tier 4 earlier, Tier 3 without any problems. Good car, definitely good for the Tier 3 cars. It's now the fastest Tier 3 car as well, so if you really get the driving down, you can go into live and not worry about somebody out-tuning you on the dyno to beat you, because they're going to have to beat you by driving skill. So that's the other positive of having a top of the tier car, because tier 3, 1, 2, and 3 are bracketed together. You don't get tier 4, 5 cars in there. So if you're the fastest tier 3, you're the fastest in the top tier, and therefore in live, no other cars are going to be lobbied with you that's going to be any faster, unless of course they're cheating and brought some kind of tier 5 car into tier 3. All around a good car. It's definitely, other than the weird shifts, it's definitely a decent car to have and easy to build. Just put the M235i to work, buy and strip them for fusions. They're cheap and they deliver pretty quick, so you should have no issues getting the job done in that sense. I don't see, oh, right here. And they're really not much money. I mean, you're paying $75,000 each, okay, and they deliver within hours. So you can probably get 3 or 4 of them delivered within a day if you actually keep track of it. And then let's just say you strip 8 to 10 of them, you really should get all the fusions you need, mainly because each stage here doesn't really take many fusions anyway. So some of them don't even need more than 1 epic. So again, easy car to build up. At stage 5, no stage 6 is needed. It'll be Tempest 3 Tier 3. So great car all around for that purpose. And definitely a new recommended choice for Tempest 3 Tier 3. Well, I hope you liked the video. I know it's kind of quick and I just kind of rambled right on through. But because it's such an easy car and the tunes really don't change, I don't see the point of going through various extensive details. You can probably get the feel for it just by putting the car to the one tune and then watching the part selections. If you have any questions, please ask them. I'm happy to try to answer them. And if you have any comments about anything I've said, feel free to comment and let me know your thoughts. If you like the video, please leave a like. And if the video is helpful to you and you like my videos, please subscribe to the channel so you can get notifications when I put up new videos. And as always, thank you for watching. I'll catch you next time.